Welcome back to the Audience Podcast. Today we're excited to announce that Castos has acquired another podcast hosting company. That podcast hosting company is Podiant. You can find Podiant at podiant.co. Hot on the heels of our last acquisition, which was the 3 Clips podcast, Craig joins us again today to talk about how the whole deal went down, what Podiant customers should expect, and what special surprises Castos customers should expect. And I'll tell you, I'm really excited about it. Don't forget to follow the Audience Podcast at castos.com/audience. Leave us a review wherever you like to leave reviews, Apple or even Podchaser, if you have a moment. Okay, let's dive into today's episode with Craig. Craig, you're back already. It's been not even a month.
It's dangerously too frequent, I know, but it's good to talk, Matt. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Usually you show up when there's massive industry news or you bought something here at Castos. And that's what we're here. Last time, April 29th, we chatted about 3 Clips podcast getting acquired, of course, here at Castos, and 3 Clips joining the family. Now we're here to talk about another podcast hosting company joining the Castos family, Podiant. Welcome to all of the Podiant podcasters, creators that are out there who are now tuning into Audience Podcast for the first time. We are fresh off of a call with Podiant customers. So they were asking all the tough questions. What's going to happen to our podcast files? What's going to happen to our podcast websites? What's the future of Castos hold for us as Podiant podcasters? Where do you want to start? Do you want to start at what this transition means for podcast creators at Podiant and what they'll see and not see now that we make this transition?
I hope that a lot of Podiant podcasters are listening and that we can share our thoughts and kind of plan with them here. We just did that in the town hall that we just got off of, Matt, and that was really great to be able to talk real time with folks, but hope that this serves as a bit of an asynchronous way for us to share a bit about how this all came about, what folks can expect, and how the transition to publishing your podcast at Castos will go. And I think the short answer for Podiant customers is nothing will change about your podcast today or tomorrow or next week even. About a month from now, so about the middle of June, we will have migrated all of the content over and have it ready to where you can publish your podcast on Castos. And it's taking that long because we are very much taking a kind of measure twice and cut once approach to this, because we know this is a large amount of data. This is really sensitive. This is people's podcasts that they rightfully are very concerned about keeping just as they are. And we're very concerned about that too. And so our engineering team is doing a bunch of work in the background, moving zeros and ones around to get data into our system the right way, the right time, in the right format the first time, so that Podiant customers can just show up one day and start publishing their podcast in Castos. It's completely transparent to subscribers and podcasting platforms like Apple and Spotify, and they don't have to worry about anything other than, hey, instead of logging in at Podiant, you log in at Castos and publish your podcast there. So, I think that the message I would have, and a lot of the questions we had in the town hall were, hey, what's going to go on with my podcast over here on Castos? What are you guys going to do? What do I have to do? Are all of my files going to be lost? Are you going to re-encode them in some crazy cheap format that's going to sound like garbage? And the answer is you don't need to do anything. We're going to take care of everything on our end. That's our responsibility as the new home for your podcast. Everything about your show will remain exactly the same. That's the promise that we're living up to as the new kind of home for your podcast. And honestly, we're super excited about it. I think everywhere from Matt to Kim, who's our customer experience manager, to Alec, who leads up our development team, are excited about the opportunity to serve a big new group of podcasters who frankly have been publishing their show on a really great platform. Podiant is, you talk to folks that are Podiant customers and they love it and they love Mark. And frankly, we have big shoes to fill. And I'm excited about that challenge and about showing the Podiant customers what Castos is all about. So yeah, I think it's the right, good kind of challenge for us as a company.
And look, it's from Podiant versus Castos. Castos, and I think you mentioned this on the call, we're just a few years ahead, with air quotes, we're just a few years ahead of where Podiant is as a business. We have, of course, more folks that that work here at Castos. We have, I guess I'll say, a little bit more of a mature platform, more feature sets. We have engineers who are dedicated to this stuff all day long. Things like this migration, things like building out private podcasting, analytics, all this stuff. We're not too far off from where Podiant could have been in a couple of years. So it's great to sort of get folks involved or move it over now at this time frame.
The fear of a lot of people is, oh, Podiant, this really great platform that I love, and I knew the founder and could email him anytime, is being consumed by company X that's just going to garbage everything and make a mess of my podcast. And I feel very confident saying that's not us. As a company, that's not me, that's not you, and that's not what we do. So I feel really comfortable and proud to say that, yeah, we are for indie podcasters. We are for creators. Creators is the term that we use, both internally and talking like on this podcast, is that's what we do. We're 12 people that wake up every day and support creators, and not big company X or mega conglomerate Y. And as long as I'm here, I think that's what we'll continue doing, just because it's fun, and there's no point in doing any of this if it's not fun. So that's the one thing I would kind of reiterate, and that's for everybody, not just Podiant customers, but for our customers or people in the industry that aren't podcasting yet or hosting somewhere else, and that's who we are, and that's who we're going to be serving for a long time.
That's the thing we hang our hat on, right? A lot of people say, why should I move to Castos? Well, I could read off a whole bunch of feature list for you. We could talk about private podcasts. We talk about WordPress integration. We can talk about that stuff. But we are creators first. We're not that mega company. And we just hope that while that might not be attractive to everyone, I mean, maybe people are looking for a shiny bell and whistle and all of these other things. We're a small company. We feel like we're punching up above our weight class, and we have something to prove in the podcasting space, and we really want to preserve, or at least part of my ideals are, like, we really want to preserve that genuine podcaster who's creating a podcast for the love of it, or they're informing, they're educating, they're using it as brand awareness, and it's not just, I don't know, Warner Brothers Studio creating like a Marvel podcast, like millions and millions of dollars to throw at it. We're trying to do it for the large audience of podcasters, and we hope that resonates with the newcomers coming over from Podiant. Part of the announcement, what do you think Podiant users are going to enjoy most switching over to Castos? Like, what thing do we have? Do you think, I can't wait for them to enjoy this?
It's a big list, but and this is in no particular order, other than it's kind of my top 5 things that pop into my head when you ask that question. I think there will be a lot of people that have WordPress websites that will start using Serious Simple Podcasting. And that migration is literally a click of a button. So that's awesome. And I'm excited for them to experience that. I think private podcasting is an obvious one that Podiant hadn't gotten explored, the private podcasting space. And it's somewhere that we're investing heavily. And so the tool set we have now, the tool set we'll have even in a couple weeks, is going to change a lot. And a couple weeks after that is going to change even more. I'm really excited about that in general, and stoked to be able to share that with everybody there. Multiple podcast support is something that I think that just from a pricing perspective, we kind of bake in and say, hey, an account can have as many podcasts as you want. We have some accounts with 20 podcasts. And I mean, that kind of goes back to, we just want people to podcast as much as they can. And you'll never be charged extra to have an extra podcast here. Those are the things that come to mind right off the bat. I'll tell you, Matt, I just got this email before we hopped on the call here. One of the things that folks at Podiant had the access to, that Castos customers will have an access to now as a result of this, is the ability to publish their podcast from Descript directly to their platform. So Podiant had this integration, and I'll speak a little ahead of this being available, but it's coming very quickly, is that you'll be able to upload your raw content to Descript, edit it down, and push publish, and that will get pushed out from Descript into Castos here in the next month. That's the kind of thing that an acquisition like this excites me. It's not just, hey, consolidation in industry or customers moving from one place to another, but doors opening that might not have been open to our whole platform before. We have more ability to, I don't want to say throw that weight around, but influence other things in the market to where we're just able to offer more things to customers.
That was going to be one of my next questions, is what does the Castos customer, podcaster, get out of this whole deal. And Descript, I'll tell you, Descript right on top of my list because I use it to edit all of my podcasts, and I can't wait to get that feature set right in Descript to be able to publish my episode there. So if anyone's listening to this, say, I know Craig said this is going to be in the future. Well, you have a cheerleader right here sitting in this seat who's going to be making sure that we get that feature.
And Matt does not let me forget things like this. So no. It's not just going to fall by the wayside.
He said I was getting Descript for Christmas, and I am not going to let him forget it. When we were on the town hall call, it made me realize, as you were just mentioning, like we're getting bigger, we have more influence, we can do things now, sort of really put our stamp on the podcasting industry. We have a lot of resources here. One of the customers asked, what do you do to help us as podcasters to get our name out there? And as much as I'm in this all day, creating podcasts, creating YouTube videos and other content, there's just a ton of stuff that we have, that we do. It was a moment of, okay, I'm proud of this, but also one of my tasks, one of my jobs is I got to do a better job of getting the stuff out there. And it made me realize, doing the community stuff for a while now, we have the podcast hackers group on Facebook. And I mentioned all of these things to this customer, including YouTube, including the Academy. I was like, we have an amazing blog that's produced every single week as well, with the email newsletter that goes out. We have a ton of resources, and having these new customers come in, again, now we get more eyeballs on it, yes, but we get more influence too. We can get some feedback from the Podiant users, say, you know what, we need this course in the Academy, or wouldn't it be great if you covered this with the Audience podcast? And most certainly, I can tell you, almost certain, Craig, and those of you who listen to the Creator Spotlight episodes that go out, we have so many podcasters now coming into Castos and from Podiant and future customers. The Creator Series could be a series onto its own, because we have that many podcasters who want to get the word out about their podcast. And that's going to be something special, I think, for the next 6 months, for the rest of the year, of seeing how we build that out, sort of betting on ourselves on that one. But I'm kind of interested to see what we can do with that now that we're a little bit bigger with the footprint of podcasters that we have.
That kind of informs another new development coming from our end is we'll have someone else joining the team here on Monday, a little less than a week from now, who will be helping us with kind of marketing and content creation. They are a podcaster, and they may just get the opportunity to lead the Creator Spotlight series and turn it into a weekly show, a show of its own. I think one of the two things is podcasters are looking for new and interesting and genuine ways to promote their shows. And this is a fantastic way to do it, is for the company where they partner to publish their podcast, to bring them on and to learn about their podcast and help them promote it. That's really great. But also, it's a super educational resource, especially for new podcasters. Say, hey, how can I learn, not from Craig and Matt, who, frankly, have been doing this for 6 or 7 years, but what if we bring on like new people and talk about, hey, what you just launched your show a month ago. Tell us about like the hard things, because Matt, I don't remember launching my first show, and it's all changed, right? And so that's what I'm really excited about with the Creator Spotlight series, is like, one, a person will kind of own that, and that'll be their main responsibility from our team. 2, we'll be doing it a lot more often. It'll probably be its own show. And 3, we'll be getting on super experienced podcasters. There was someone on our town hall call just now with 500 episodes. Love to get them on. Love to also get on someone who just launched this week and say, okay, those scars are fresh. Let's talk about your experience there and what you learned, so that we can pass that on to other folks.
In the previous episode that came out on the Audience podcast, it was a creator series with Tim McKenna. And one of the biggest challenges he shared, he's been doing it now for a couple of years, so since the sort of the end of 2019. And his thing was, he thought he was going to start his podcast with a couple of co-hosts, so some friends of his, talking about like design and business and all of this fun stuff. And he quickly realized that he was the only one in the room who really wanted a podcast, and these other guys that he was reaching out to, they're kind of like, hey, podcasting's cool, we don't want to do it. We don't want to be the ones like behind the microphone. So he had a little bit of an uphill battle in the beginning. So it's those lessons that like maybe you have forgotten or I have forgotten, and just everyone has just like a unique issue with getting their podcast going. funnily enough, it's never about the podcast equipment like everyone thinks about. It's never like everyone agonizes over the selecting of the microphone and doing all this stuff, but it's literally never that. It's something else in the story arc, in the premise of a show, or maybe the logistics of it, where you think you're going to have a co-host or a couple of co-hosts or guests, and this stuff sort of falls through, and that's the biggest challenge, especially in the early days.
Talking about the customers that are coming over from Podiant, and you alluded to, like, why did we do this? And really, that's why is I've known Mark from Podiant for a few years now. We've kind of stayed in touch just as folks in the industry. And he came to us and said, like, hey, I'm ready to move on to go do something different. Like, this is not what really excites me anymore. This is not, what I want to make my life's work. And it is for me, right? And it is for you. And I hope it is for everybody on our team. I think it is. And I'm most excited about this, that we were able to take what is a fantastic platform and the customers there and give them a really great place to base their show now. And that's why we did it. Is I didn't want any of those folks to be kind of left out in the cold, or to be somewhere where their show wouldn't be really taken care of. Because I know that up until now, Mark has done a fantastic job of building a great platform and taking care of those people, and him directly has been engaged in a lot of those customers. And I am really proud, Matt, that like we are a team and a platform and a company that can take that body of work that Mark created and those customers and bring them over with a lot of confidence that they're going to be happy podcasting here, and the new home for their show is going to be somewhere that they really dig. I think that was like the thing I was most excited and proud of with this whole thing.
One of the benefits, aside from the features, is not that Mark didn't have good support before, but now we are just expanding that support, right? The technical support, the onboarding support, the migration support, the education support here at Castos. So there should be a win-win, all around, from customers who are coming over with, like you said, 500 plus episodes or 5 episodes. Everyone should be in good hands, or at least we hope so. And that's what we're here for, and that's why we show up every single day. You were very proud of that map, as you should be, Craig, the map of us all around the world. So it's great. It's awesome stuff.
It is. And I mean, just from a kind of founder perspective, it is more and more the thing I'm most excited about is we get people like you and people like Kim and people like Alec and people like Francois on our team in here who, one, just do a lot better job at the thing that they do, right, than I could, but also because now we have 12 people who all kick ass at their thing. And that's really, really cool to see is, okay, we have this big engine behind what we're doing now. And we can do a lot of good work for our customers and the industry and the resources we put out and the events that we help with and things like that. As kind of esoteric as it sounds, like the good we can do for the world, if not just the podcasting world, is like one of the real values of a company and a company getting bigger to where we can just do a lot more good stuff for everybody.
So the time that you might be listening to this, if this is the first time you've heard of Castos, if you haven't seen any of the emails going out or any of the notices on the blogs or the websites, send us an email, hello@castos.com. Go to castos.com to help explore the platform. If you have any questions for us, shoot a message over to our support team. Check out our YouTube channel. Check out, again, both announcement posts we will have available in the show notes of this episode. Feel free to send us any questions you have. If you're a newcomer from Podiant, go to academy.castos.com, dive into all the educational material and resources we have there. That's the Audience Podcast for today. Craig, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, right? When you when you get something else. I
think we're done for now, but yeah, hopefully back on in a couple of weeks with some exciting product updates that we can share with everyone.
Awesome stuff, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.